two, three, four. One, 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 two, three, four. 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. 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 One, two, three, four.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this, our fourth GMGVGBC SC, or the Good Morning Guys Video Game Book Club Spoiler Cast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we talk about the classic survival FPS, unless you played it on easy like I did, Bioshock. I am one of your two hosts tonight, the Brazilian raptureer and transition splicer, Lucas Ham Swisher. Our other host is the all-knowing, fact-dropping, ever-watching overseer of GMG Land, Mark Ryan.
Nice.
That's funny.
But that's not all who's with us tonight. Not just Mark Ryan. We have two special guests to join us for the Spoilercast. First, our now three-time guest on the show, the Canadian Big Daddy himself, and the nicest guy I know, Chris "The Rock" Kerwin.
What's up?
He's here for a three-peat.
That's right. And finally, a new friend of ours who is on a quest for nostalgia by day and possibly rescuing little sisters by night, Dylan Tenenbaum. I decided to go with a good character instead of all the bad side characters I could have chosen.
No, nice.
Oh, we're using our fake names.
That's right. We're doing fake names tonight. Dylan, welcome to the show. Welcome
you guys for
to
having
our
me.
Spoilercast. Why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself? You can share your real info other than the fake info that I shared.
Yeah.
And you can also share about your vicarious connection to our podcast through Chris the Rock.
Yeah. So I am a variety Twitch streamer and also YouTube content creator. And both of the channels are Quest for Nostalgia. And I found Chris the Rock during his playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And so you guys have probably seen that spoiler cast. But I was there for that whole ride, and that was really fun to see. That game took me by storm. And then, so, through the raid over to Chris, and like Lucas, alluded to, he is the nicest guy that you'll
Totally.
ever meet. It is crazy. So his energy is just so cool. So it's like, whenever I see him, I would just throw the raid over there. I'm like, I know my, community is in great hands when Chris is on, so I'm going to throw it over there. And so, so I kind of started, hanging out with him. And then that also led to Lucas and everybody here. So I'm excited to, come on and share these things with you and my thoughts on some of the games. I'm glad it lined up that I had played a game on stream that ended up being perfect for your spoiler cast.
No doubt. No doubt. It's great to have you with us. Great, of course, to have Chris back. And, of course, Mark Ryan. He's probably going to drop Mark Boucher, for those who don't know him. Probably going to drop a few facts tonight. But as you guys know, we are talking about Bioshock 1. It was it all kinds of runs together. But tonight, guys, our goal is just to discuss the good, the bad, maybe the ugly. I'm not sure if there is any ugly, but you just never know. We're just going to talk about all of it. But
Pretty sure it was July.
Was it July? Good.
Yeah.
Right on time.
Exactly. What is it the Gandalf says? We're never late. We arrive when we plan to.
Precisely when we need to be.
That's right, when we need to be. And so now we needed to have it happen here on the first day of September, just a month or so more behind. But yeah, let me just drop a few stats, and then we'll jump into. We usually start with some spoiler-free thoughts, just in case someone stumbles upon this spoiler cast and like, oh, Bioshock, what's that game? And then we share some thoughts and are like, oh, I want to play that. Oh, you just spoiled everything. So we want to kind of lay out some spoiler-free thoughts, give a nice little review with maybe a number applied to it, and then we'll jump into some many of our spoiler-filled ideas, reflections, those kind of things.
Can I say something real quick before we get into it proper?
Yes.
Okay. So real quick, for those watching, you may notice that a Twitch link went out.
Hi. Don't go there. Stay away. Don't click it.
Yeah. So we are definitely in support of those who are taking part in that A Day Off Twitch initiative. There's been a lot of issues with hate speech and things, like all sorts of trolls saying a lot of hateful things, and we are not about that at all, and we definitely stand in solidarity for Twitch making some major changes with that. And the original intention was for us to do the same, to not be a part of Twitch, but unfortunately my Streamlabs, which is the system that we use to stream everything and make everything all nice and pretty, is super integrated into Twitch. And so it would have proved very difficult for me to try to, shut that off and everything. So unfortunately, we are streaming to Twitch tonight. We're streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. I'm hoping the YouTube stream is still up. But yeah, so apologies for that, but we definitely stand in support of everybody staying off of Twitch and Twitch making those changes. Please listen and do that.
For sure. And if you're on Twitch, just hop on over to YouTube. It's just a couple clicks away. Probably easy to find. I don't really know how easy it is to find though, but I'll just.
Yeah, we are definitely live on YouTube.
Sweet.
Good.
We're on that YouTube, so check it out. Fantastic. All right, guys. So Bioshock. It was originally released in 2007 on Xbox and PC, and then a year later on PS3, and then 7 years later on iOS.
Is it really on iOS?
That's the word on the street.
Wow.
It even got a review, an awful review, around 67, I think, 66, something like that.
Yikes.
But that's not really Bioshock's fault. I think it's not meant for mobile.
No.
It's probably the fault of iOS. But so Bioshock proper on Xbox, PC, and PS3, they were headed up by 2K, Irrational Games, and Ken Levine. It has a Metacritic average between Xbox and PC of around a 95. And it is set in the 60s down in the underwater city of Rapture, covered with Art Deco and riddled with pretty much every type of crazy person you can think of. Before we jump into our spoiler-free review and then our spoiler-filled discussion, what were your guys' first original experiences with them? Did you get to the game in 2007? Did you get to it later? Why did you miss it? So just kind of divulge some of your personal history with it, starting with, let's go with our guest, Dylan.
Yeah.
Cool. I wish I thought to grab them. So I actually have them. I don't know if you can see the game library over here, but I have all the 360 versions on there. So that's what I got to play it on. And yeah, I got to play it from the beginning and instantly fell in love. I mean, it was so different than anything that I had played before. You know, it's like just such a story-driven first-person shooter. Was really, really nice. And goodness, the art style, like you said, in the 60s with the Art Deco and everything like that, they just breathed so much life into that world. It was just so crazy to see. And like, oh my gosh, let's just say the water effects alone, right? The water effects, the first time, even like the opening of the game, and you get into the water and like seeing flames on the water, and you're like, what the heck? Like that felt like such a crazy technological jump in quality of games. I just remember seeing that and being like, this is insane. This is what games are now. Like, I just can't believe it. So I had great experiences with it in the beginning.
Nice. And so when you played it for more recently, how many times have you played it up to now?
Goodness, I guess I probably played it 3 times. So this being the 3rd time playing it through there. So I played it originally, and I guess that'd be 4 times, because the first time I played it, I know I did. You know, you have that choice factor of what you do with the Little Sisters, and I was very into achievement hunting when I was younger. I got broken up with that eventually when I started getting into multiplayer online stuff. You just kind of like let that get pushed aside. But back then, I was
multiplayer achievements and trophies are not fun. So it's probably better that you chose to do that.
Exactly. So, you know, it got away, and, you know, Microsoft started also adding achievement points later on to games. I was like, what the heck? I had 1,000 and now you're at 1,000 out of 1,350. I'm like, this is just terrible.
What is going on?
You know, but so I had that then. So I did it twice then, and then I did it once in between because I thought I was going to go through, because I was really late to Infinite. And so I wanted to do Infinite. So I was like, oh, maybe I should try them all again, you know. Got through 1. I think I got stuck on 2 the next time, like just time wise kind of, and then never made it to Infinite. And then now this time has been able to go 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, it's been probably 4 times.
Sweet. All right, Chris the Rock, how about you? What was your original experience?
It's gonna be pretty quick, because back in those days, I actually wasn't gaming much. I don't know. It came out on PS3, right? So I got my PS3. It
did come out on PS3 in 2008.
I got my PS3 in I think 2010, because I was studying real hard on professional exams, and it was taking all my time. So I had a little window of maybe 3 or 4 years where I didn't game much. So that fell right into that, and skipping the first one whenever I like to do all of the games in a series. So whenever there's a number 2 that comes out, if I didn't play the first one, I'm not gonna jump in it.
Right.
Plus, also, I usually don't like carnival themed stuff. Okay, like I really don't want to touch it. I'm gonna talk about it in my review, where, you know, despite having some carnival stuff, I still like the game, so it means a lot. So it's really nice. You know, we take a lot of systems for granted. Like in 2021, you know, everything has RPG elements, even your cereal box. But back then, a shooter with RPG elements, and you know, it was a mix and match of many things that you didn't see back then. So it's really cool to see people who played it when it came out.
Yeah. All right, Mark Boucher, how about you, my friend?
So basically, I missed it the first time around when it came out in 2007. I did not play it originally. The first time I actually played it was after I actually played Infinite first. And that's what really grabbed me. Was I loved the aesthetic and all the gameplay and everything about Bioshock Infinite. And of course, this stream is not about Bioshock Infinite, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But that is what led me to go back and play the original Bioshock. And I absolutely love all the aesthetic of this game. I love the Art Deco style, all the bright neon lights, contrasting with the dark, noirish, deep, seedy underground that is Rapture. I love like the creepy vibe, especially with the Big Daddies and all that kind of stuff. So good. The story, I've really had to kind of retake in the story on multiple plays and playthroughs and reading up on it and things like that, because I didn't always catch everything. Like, I know, Chris, we were talking off air about that. You kind of missed some things, and we'll talk more about that, but yeah, I love the gameplay. Very solid FPS. Yeah, just the story is fantastic. The voice acting is great. But love everything about this game. There are a little bit of drawbacks that we'll talk more about once we get over the spoiler wall, but overall,
well, since you kind of gave a spoiler-free review, so go ahead and give it a number while you're at it.
I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10 plasmids.
All right, 8 out of 10 plasmids.
Like
all right, it's not a bad score.
Nope.
Not a bad score.
Not at all.
My original encounter of the game was probably, it was on PS3, and if memory serves, I got a PS3 really late. I got it, I think, in 2013. But prior to that, I had played an Xbox, and I had played it. Actually, I take that back. PS3 was not the original time I played. PS3 was the original time I played through the game. I had actually tried the game on Xbox 360 back in, I think, 08 or 09 when I got a 360 for the first time. I had taken a break from gaming for a variety of reasons in life. And then my best friend, Tom, got me a 360 for my birthday. And so I think I just tried the demo of Bioshock, and I immediately was put off by the creepiness of it. I am not a horror, darkness, bring on the creepy, clowns, kind of like what Chris was talking about with the carnival stuff, except just across the board, I'm just not a fan. It just doesn't appeal to me. I get why people like it. I understand why people are like, ooh, the adrenaline, oh, the fear and all that stuff. Sure. It just doesn't entertain me. So that kind of like put me off. And so I was like, you know what? I'd rather play, something else.
Something
I can't remember something a little, more well lit, less like, I don't like, things screaming at me, characters screaming at me like, what are you doing now? Whereas there's a lot of screaming at you in this game. And so I probably played an hour and then I bailed. And then it became free on PS Plus in, I don't even remember, 2014, 2000, maybe not long before the PS4 came out. I was still playing that PS3, catching up on everything I'd missed, like the Uncharted's and everything that was on the PS Plus collection and all that stuff. But so I played it again, and it clicked with me. I powered through the first hour that I'd skipped before and started to meet different characters. I discovered not everybody in Rapture was crazy, and so I got a little more interested in the story and played through it all. But it didn't give a good first impression for me, but it won me over the second time around. And so with that, I'll just go ahead and roll into my review for the game. Pretty much, like I said, the creepy atmosphere, not my cup of tea, but I grew to appreciate it. The twists that come in the game were really fun, even though I kind of like caught wind through people discussing about it before some of the twists. But for me, I don't always mind spoilers. It's the journey that matters. And so when I experience it again, I also have a very nice ability of like being in the moment and just absolutely forgetting what's coming. And so I just don't even think about it, and I just enjoy it, experience it. And I really enjoyed the twists. I enjoyed kind of just the idea that I could be a good guy. I love when games give me a choice. I will be honest and say I've never picked to be the bad guy in a game and liked it. I've only done it for trophies and achievements. And so for me, it's like I'm going to go the nice guy route. Anytime there's an option, anytime there's a blue option and a red option below it, I'm like, I got to do the blue option because, Jesus is watching. So, okay, that's not really what I think.
I'm the same way though. Like, I don't want to interrupt you, but like, I mean,
No,
if there's
go
a
ahead.
meter that says good or bad,
Yeah.
I'm like there, and I hate when games like Red Dead Redemption 2 puts you into a mission where you have to be bad and you see your thing go down there and you're like,
Yeah,
come on, like I'm the good version. Like, you should let me do good all the time.
exactly.
I always choose the good, but I do enjoy the bad as well, though.
Yeah,
Like
Okay.
in Infamous, you need to
Interesting.
do both every time. So it's a video game. It's not doing it for real. It's not doing harm
Aw,
to anybody.
man.
But I will always, if I do it once, I'll always do the good playthrough. But doing the bad playthrough in Infamous and lighting everything on fire and causing chaos is pretty
Burning
fun
up
too.
innocent civilians, man, that nothing makes you
Yeah,
feel so good
yeah.
and warm and fuzzy inside,
Yeah,
like
I've
burning
never
them up.
slept so well.
Yeah, I guess we're a bunch of goody for the most part, other than I guess Chris's occasional little twinges of evil.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're mostly goody two shoes here. Because I basically, anytime there's an option to do good or bad, I'm always doing the good. Like I really don't have a whole lot of interest in doing the bad. And in the case of this game, we'll talk more about why I made that decision, especially.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm always going with the good side.
Yeah. But outside of the creepiness, the horror aspect, getting to be good helped to kind of offset the crazies all around me. I would say that some of the gameplay mechanics for me, just because I played it, really, really played it 5 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Some of the gunplay with the plasmids didn't feel as good as it could, and so that kind of felt clunky to me at times. But overall, I really enjoyed the gun variety, the plasmid variety, getting to experiment with that, the physics in the game. I really enjoyed it, and so I give it actually an 8.5 out of 10.
Nice.
On my, I guess at 8.5. Shoot, what are those? What are the? I'm blanking on the little.
Plasmids.
No, what's the one with the clown on it? The little where you
Vending
buy
machine?
stuff. Yeah, but they're called something.
Oh, dang it.
But
You would ask me
I
that.
totally blanked.
It's the Circus of Values.
Circus of Values, yeah. So I give it 8.5 out of 10 Circus of Values. That's what I
Just
thought.
hear the voice when you
You can
like,
just hear the
walk
voice.
past
You're
it.
giving me PTSD hearing that.
Yeah, I know, right? So there you go. There's
Yeah.
my take on it.
That's exactly the carnival stuff I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris, The Rock, give us your spoiler-free review.
All right, sure. So yeah, like it's got, especially when you try to imagine. I know it's a remaster, but still, you can't. If it was a bad game, you can't completely make it perfect after. So I'm really impressed, at the mechanic, the how it looks and feels for a 2007 game. For me, it was really fluid and flawless and fun. I at first, because I started it on normal, and at first I found that the mix of powers and then I think it starts with you shock and then you hit with a wrench or something, and that's really fun. And then with a gun, and mixing the two was really fun. But then I was struggling a bit, and I knew I wanted to play all three. and we had scheduled time for just one of them, so I decided to switch it to easy, and that made it fun to experience everything in one go and basically plowing through those games. But I did find that on easy mode, then your powers are kind of useless. So I kind of shot myself in the foot because of that. I think if you play it on normal, especially the game comes out, you pay $60 for it, you're going to play it on normal and replay it and everything. I was just trying to experience it the quick way. So it was not as fun as if I played it how it was meant to be played. I never used the powers. I was just shooting because it was on easy. So that's my own fault. The story is really, really interesting. It's got like amazing twists. And then I would have wanted a bit more explanation as to what happened, because to me, you go in there, everybody's crazy, and some people are not crazy, but they don't seem to mind that 99% of the people are crazy. So I was like, what's happening? Can somebody tell me? Like, it's as if the normal people find it normal that it's been that way. Nobody wants to tell you, yeah, it was a really good idea, but we screwed up and now it's like that because this and this and this. I think you can find bits and pieces in audio logs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But
what I was going to say. So you had addressed the fact that you kind of played it the fast way. And I feel like there's a lot of world to be created through the audio logs, just like something like, Horizon Zero Dawn, where you
it
go
does
listen
beg you to explore.
I
Which I didn't mention that, but I did like the audio logs. I think that's the best way to do collectibles.
I did listen to everything I could find. But to me, it was not enough, or maybe I don't pay enough attention at 4 a.m. But
You're still waking up.
Yeah. But other than that, like, the story was amazing. And I find the choice that they made of a silent first-person protagonist really interesting. You're experiencing everything, and when things are unveiled or when you live something, it's feels more like it's you than if they had a third person, or if even if he was talking, like in Infinite. When it's Infinite, you hear the voice, it's not you. But when you just see two hands and you don't know what you look like, it's really you doing this and you experimenting everything. So I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, great game. Like, my 2021 review is 8 saved little sisters out of 10.
Nice.
But I'm
Good
sure
job.
if I played it in 2007, it would have been a 10.
No. No.
Oh, that's awful. That gives me PTSD. Don't do that
you
ever
nailed it,
again,
though.
Marcus.
You
Yeah, you
did
did.
nail it.
All right. And Dylan.
Yeah, so I did a video on this on my channel as well that is like complete spoiler free. I try to keep my content very, very fast paced when things like that, short, quick reviews, cut and dry. And I did get to play it right off the bat, right? So mine is coming from a way different perspective. I love the game. 10 out of 10 in the beginning. I'll give you the rating.
Give us the rating.
It's
Lay it
like,
on us.
right off the bat, I got to give you it's a 10 out of 10. The title of that video is the best first person shooter of all time. And that's because I loved it. I mean, like I said, the first time I hit the water and I saw the aesthetic of it, the aesthetic and the music, that can carry me in so many games. So if I just like looking at it and listening to the sounds and the music coming through, gosh, I can really get swept away in a game. And that one, like I said, with the audio logs, it made me slow down, like even now. So, Chris talked about going faster and being a streamer and having a huge backlog of games. I've just come over to the PlayStation 4 this year. And so I have a huge backlog that I've been crushing out, just learning JRPGs, huge backlog that's infinitely, just skyrocketed. And so I play games pretty quickly now too. Bioshock instantly slowed me down. Like usually I'm just like, I go easy mode right off the bat nowadays, and I'm just going in through these things. I'm not even thinking about, platinum hunting unless it sweeps me off my feet. And Bioshock halted me in my tracks, and I'm like creep walking through everything. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And it was funny when you talked about putting on easy as well. I found that allowed me to really get creative with the gameplay because I had no fear of ammo shortages or
Right.
are my
Yeah.
plasmids going to be like 3 blasts and then I'm done. If you play on a harder difficulty, your plasmid is a resource that you are really like trying to hold on to it, because you don't know if you want to waste it. Am I going to turn a corner and there's a big daddy that I wish I had a full, juice in there? But playing it on easy allowed me to try everything, shocking things way more than I ever would. Playing almost a melee only run, doing things like that, choosing the abilities that were gonna boost me up and do this really fun melee go through. I think I still ammo hoarded a lot. I think I do that more than anything just from being terrorized by, Resident Evil as a child. It's just instinct now.
Yeah, I don't think I had less than probably 5 health packs and 5
Never.
Was it Adam?
Yeah.
Is it Adam? No, it's Plasmid.
Adam is your Eve.
Adam's the blue stuff.
Eve.
Yeah,
Eve. That's what
there we
it's
go.
called, Eve.
Yes.
Yeah,
Eva.
yeah. I don't think I had ever had less than 5 of either of those. I think I would always have up to 9. I think you can get more than that.
And you can get perks
Yeah,
that
you can
make
max
it
it to
cost less
9.
and things
Yeah.
like that as
Yeah.
well. So
Yep.
like there's a lot of ways, like you were saying, there's RPG factors in there that are really cool, that the replayability on it is insane, let alone story choices. But like in my thing, I showed how many different types of weapons there were. I just played through the Uncharted as well, and none of those weapons stand out to me through that playthrough. It doesn't feel different when you use an SMG or an assault rifle or things like that. It didn't really feel any different. It felt like the same cover shooting through the whole game. But in this, all of the games feel different. And then you have 3 ammo types for like every
Right.
type of weapon.
Yeah.
And just like, oh my goodness, the amount of variety in the way that you decide to play Bioshock blew my mind. And then you see this over here. This is the PlayStation VR. This is why I'm dying. When you said that there's a Bioshock for the iOS and we don't have Bioshock for the PlayStation VR, that kills me.
Yeah.
Travesty.
Literally, it's like we have Skyrim in VR, we have Resident Evil 7 in VR, these full-blown titles that are amazing in VR. Bioshock lends itself so well to have jump scares, plasmids. Like imagine being able to bees out of your hand, lightning out of your hand with the move controllers. It's like, what are you guys doing? Don't port it to the Switch. Who cares about that? Please bring it to the PlayStation VR. I love it. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm gonna
Sweet.
leave it at that.
Love it.
Yeah, very good. Well, you'll have plenty other, from here on, we're going into spoilers. So you'll be able to go even deeper into it. Just going to throw in real quick. I was also a hoarder. Every time I got to the Circus of Values or there's also the text
ammo
guy,
one, yeah.
the ammo guy. I can't remember the words he says, but I would spend all my money every time I saw those and make sure I stock up on everything.
Yep.
But all right, let's get
those
into
little puzzles though. I did enjoy them.
Yeah.
Like the hacking stuff?
The
Yeah.
hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty
for
cool.
sure. Yep. All right, let's get into spoilers. Immediately we're going to be getting into the twists, the turns, the experiences. We're not going to go beat by beat of the whole story. We're kind of going to focus in chunks. There's really 3 main chunks. First, there's, your arrival as Jack. You arrive randomly, you think, in a plane crash, see a lighthouse. You go in that lighthouse and you go down a bathysphere. You ride a bathysphere down to the bottom into Rapture, and you get to see the whole city. And like you said, Dylan, that opening is really majestic. Like seeing the water, the music, the explanation of what Rapture is. The audio in this game is amazing. The music, it very much reminds me of Fallout a little bit, kind of that 60s big band kind of sound to it. I really enjoy that and really connect with it. But the first main section of the game is all about trying to reach and save Atlas and his family. And through all of this, you discover that there's this guy, Andrew Ryan, who's a big jerk. The place he created is a big mess. but you have lots of guns and plasmids to choose from. I also used both, just like you, Dylan. But what were your guys' favorite plasmids and guns to use in the first? You could say the whole game or just the beginning of the game, whatever works.
Top three I used. Incinerator, first off, that's my top.
Yep. Burn them up, toast them.
I'm very
like
much a
marshmallows.
pyromaniac in that respect. The second one is I forget what the shock one, the electricity one.
Yeah.
Shock jockey.
Yeah, and the third one is the telekinesis one. Like any time, those are like super offensive plasmids to me. That I would constantly use. And myself, even on easy mode, I used both.
Yeah, I did too.
Weapons and plasmids, especially when I was coming up against big
I
daddies.
missed out.
Chris, you missed out on the plasmids, man.
Yeah.
I feel like they offered some interruption. Like, you shock people and you get a little chance to either run up on them and smack them in the face with a wrench or, fill them full of one of your 3 different ammunition types on your weapon.
I feel like all the enemies are bullet sponges. I feel like even on easy mode, I feel like it takes a lot more, like especially like the big daddies.
Oh my gosh.
There may have been some way to like, I know there's probably perks and stuff like that to.
Yeah, you can
I know
power
there's
up
ones
your.
where you can control them and stuff like that, but.
Yeah, I used that one a good bit, the controlling one, until I didn't need him, and then took him out.
To defeat them, like it takes a lot. I was going back and forth between my incinerator and anytime I could find like, the grenade launcher rounds and things like that, or the like a flamethrower. I'm trying like a chemical, that particular weapon.
Yeah, the one that had like the cold gun, cold, hot, and I'm blanking on the third one, but yeah.
But anytime I was having to take the big daddies down, I was having to like use a variety of those to try to get them down. But yeah, those are my top 3 plasmids.
Don't play 2 if you find they were sponges in 1. That's my main complaint in 2, especially on easy. I didn't feel like it was spongy in 1, but in Bioshock 2, definitely. They take half your clip.
That's what turned me off. Insane. I never finished 2. I started playing it, never finished it.
I think I just played different than you guys.
Yeah. Like I don't know what it was about 2. Maybe it was that and like some other things that it just within like the first like 20 minutes of 2, it didn't grab me as much as 1 or Infinite did. So I stopped playing. So.
Yep.
I just use the shock.
Yeah.
And for the big daddies too, I mean, because the shock will
immobilize,
incapacitates them.
Yeah. So I use that when I needed. I think it's almost only on the big daddies. It was super helpful. You kind of need, or else it'd be really long and a waste of ammo on big daddies. But just the shock for me.
Yeah. And then what about, do you have a gun? Sorry. Do you have a gun, Chris, that you liked?
Was there like a I know the French word like like arbalète. It's like a bow, but a bow gun. How's it called?
It's the
trip bow.
What was that called? Yeah, trip bow, I think. I actually didn't find that in my second playthrough. I missed it. I remember getting it in my first playthrough, but
I may be mixing the games up. But it's got another name than trip bow. I don't remember. You have that in most games. You have one in Days Gone, and it uses bolts, and you can pick those back up, and they're super powerful. Especially,
I think that's 2. But
my bad.
That's
my favorite gun of the series. It's so blending in my head too that I don't know.
Yeah.
But because
if you do a headshot with that, it's extremely strong, and you can pick them back up. So
crossbow.
That's a crossbow.
Yeah, crossbow.
Is the word.
There's a crossbow in there.
I was looking for, but that's in
there
2.
Was.
So then
it's
I know.
1 also.
There's a crossbow in 1?
There is.
I thought so. Yeah.
Okay. So that's my favorite gun.
There you go. All right, Dylan. How about you?
Plasmids so for me,
and favorite plasmids.
Like I said, I did this run mainly as like a melee build. So like my focus when I bought Eve and things like that too, or Adam rather, when I was at the machines, I would do things like, you know, making sure my melee was really strong and things like that. And so
Yeah.
I spent a lot more as opposed to getting bees and, you know, all the other crazy, you know, plasmids, or even getting extra plasmid slots. You know, that's a thing that you buy. I didn't worry about having a whole wheel of plasmids available to me at all the time. I used shock a lot. That one was really good. I used telekinesis and freeze because I would freeze and then melee with a wrench or something, and it was just like brutal when you had like extra melee damage plus them incapacity with the ice. It was really, really strong. One thing that I noticed in this game too that I didn't realize when I was younger was that it was a Metroidvania. You know, like I
Yep.
had never thought of Bioshock as a Metroidvania.
Mhm.
And then as soon as the first time you go get the lightning to zap the door, then you go get
Open the
the
door.
fire to melt the ice. I'm like, oh, this is literally Metroid. You know, you hit a doorway and you're like, oh crap, and then you find another doorway around to get the power up to go back. I was like, oh, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think my thing was more of a melee build here, except for I used the round drum machine gun a
Yeah,
lot.
baby.
And that has, I believe, it might have been the anti-personnel rounds were the ones that just
Yeah.
melted the Big Daddy. So I would
Speaking my
literally
language.
lightning and melt them with the round drum and felt like I was really doing well. I didn't feel it was spongy. And I was thinking the same thing with, you know, too, that trip mine thing. I think I set up the room, you know, when you're guarding, you know, whatever, and the same kind of combination in that game. And I felt like Beaver was, you know, if anybody doesn't know, I have a buddy Beaver that's on my stream that likes to roast me and give me a hard time over there. And he's like, of course you're melting everything. It's easy, you know, whatever. And I was like, so I
Mhm.
didn't have that sponginess to it, but it might have just been a good combination. Oh, and this is one that nobody really talked about, is I used bots all the time.
Yes.
So I had two flying
Hacking.
bots with me all the
Yep.
time. So it was like, no matter what, I was always zapping the machine gun turrets around there and doing the hack puzzle, and always having at least two robots on me. You know, if I would let the thing, if I'd lost one, I'd let it trigger, grab some more, and then, you know, kind of protect them so they didn't have damage and then go into the next area. So that was a big thing for me, was
Nice.
usage of the robots.
I used the bots
Well-
a couple of times, but I guess that just wasn't, to me, wasn't something I was interested in.
Well,
And then,
Dylan,
like they're
you
whistling.
yeah, woo.
Yeah.
Well, my favorites are everything Dylan said. Pretty much, he took all my answers, so I have nothing to say about that. No, it's all good. It's hilarious because that's exactly right. The machine gun is where it's at. That's
Yeah.
what the anti-personnel. I just rocked it. I powered that thing up first in those
Mhm.
little, you know, weapon upgrade areas, and then yeah, hacking. I hacked every camera, every turret. I often had little flying turrets with me, and I mean they do most of the legwork. You
Yeah.
don't have to really worry about it, and it does. I didn't think the one had very spongy, at least on easy.
Mhm.
I can't remember if I ever played it on normal, just because usually with scary games I have to do it on easy because there's like an extra, like just scared factor that just messes with me, and normal becomes hard. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna do this on easy because I can. And that, and also spoilers for the end, but I found out that you can cheese the difficulty, finishing the game on the hardest playthrough by changing the difficulty right when you beat the boss, and
Oh, wow.
it gives you the trophy for it. So I did
Oh, wow.
I did
That's
that
funny.
during this playthrough. So now I just need to go back and get the rest of the audio logs.
Oh,
And
cool.
I think finish getting all the sisters.
I
Taking
must
care of
not
all
have
the
been
sisters.
using the right combinations because I played it on easy.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
played it on easy this playthrough. I don't remember what I played through on my initial run through the game, but yeah, on this I played on easy, and yeah, it just felt more than usual. I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm really pumping this guy, like with
It was
with
the extra
fire.
robots is why we had it easy.
We had the extra robots. It just that little bit of extra, you know,
Yeah.
little damage will it just works. They're always working for it. They have way better aim than we do. So or at least they have better aim than I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so throughout the game, you know, you guys were talking about the weapons, of course, but that's not what it's all about. It's about the story. So you're kind of tasked with saving Atlas and his family. This guy Atlas, who's got a very thick, I want to say like an Irish accent.
Yeah, it's
is
Irish.
calling for you to come and help him. And so you're making your way through, and then you get to the point where you try to rescue him, and Ryan makes all this. Andrew Ryan, the founder of the city, makes all this stuff happen that pretty much seemingly kills his family.
Mm-hmm.
And then Atlas says, "Well, we need to take care of Ryan and take over Rapture."
Was I the only one? I probably was, but like when I see pictures of Andrew Ryan, he gives off this vibe of evil Walt Disney.
Oh yeah, yes,
totally.
yes, 100%.
Totally looks like evil Walt
easy.
Disney.
That is a very easy comparison.
Especially when
Yeah.
he's created this land of
Yeah.
Rapture.
Yeah.
You know, is
Yeah, he's like Walt Disney that's full of himself.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
like he's got so many great quotes in this game. Like, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? You know,
Yeah.
his whole diatribes that he does throughout the game that you listen to.
Yep.
Um,
doesn't
you
let
know,
you forget it.
No, he doesn't. He says it over and over. And he's like, you know, another quote that he says is, "We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us." That's one of his other quotes
Yeah.
that I like. But yeah, so he becomes the focus after Atlas's family is supposedly killed, and you know, you're making your way to then confront Ryan. And what did you guys like? I was a little spoiled on what was going on. I knew there was more going on, but I didn't understand everything. What were you guys thinking when you got to like Ryan's office and about to confront him? Where was your head at? Do you remember? Do you know? And anybody, just speak up.
I'm about to fight
Because this is
you
where a
and-
big twist. This is where the first twist happens, if I'm correct, right?
It's the big one.
Yeah.
It's the
The big
twist.
one.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
twist.
Are there more? There's I guess one more after.
Yeah.
I mean,
in terms of twists.
for me, it's like you have that twist, but they still did a good job of like you not feeling like you weren't torn whether or not you should injure Ryan, you know, or get rid
Right,
of Ryan,
yeah.
you know. So that was a thing that they did well, I think, because I'm trying to think of another game where they did a twist and you know you then kind of did feel guilty. You're like, well, now I actually don't feel like it, and now I kind of have to continue. This, you still hated him, so it was like,
Right.
all right, whatever, you know. It's like, you know, granted, I understand there's bigger fish to fry, but you know, I'm still gonna do this because we're better off without him.
Yeah.
So I
He
think
was
that
a
was
te-
my thought the whole
He
time.
was a terrible leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think he makes you kill him though? I didn't get that part.
Well, that's because you're his son. That's one of the spoilers, or the one of
Yeah.
the
But-
big
but,
twists
like,
is
still-
you're his kid. He's not going to kill you. You're his.
I mean, it was
It
that
is.
whole
No,
long
you could
game aspect, right?
Coexist.
Yeah, but he knows that you're. And then the other twist is that he knows you're mind controlled, and you. Would you kindly? You've already been. I think it's actually. You know what? Now that you mention it, I think it's all wrapped up in what he says when he's letting you beat him
Yeah.
to death. He says, "A man chooses, a slave obeys," and I think there's a part of him that thinks you're
can
going
change
to.
you.
You're like his. I don't know. Like you're his father, so it's gonna.
You think he'll stop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll stop. I don't know. Maybe.
I think he knows that you're going to kill him. Like he knows he's gonna die. So
He just when he gets one jab in, one sly
well,
comment.
he wants
I
to
don't
go out on
know.
his own terms, basically.
Yeah.
He knew
Yeah.
he was gonna die, but he
'Cause-
knows the mind control and what's going on. He's like he knows Frank Fontaine. Spoilers.
Yeah. We already. Who
knows
was
Frank-
Atlas?
Yeah. He
But like the because his dream or his utopia is hopeless now, so he doesn't
It's
care.
crumbled.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's all destroyed, especially after it talks about the Civil War that went on and all of that. Like basically how Rapture has fallen to crap, basically.
Yeah.
And so at this point he knows his days are few, and he wants to go out his own way. So
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe. And it's pretty brutal. It's,
It is.
Oh yeah,
It's
Very
I would
visceral.
say it's very visceral, and it's with a golf club to the
Mhm.
face. Shout outs to The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Yikes.
Too
I
soon?
haven't played it yet.
oh yeah. Well, that was actually a game that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yep.
You
But yeah,
golf
so
all throughout Last of Us 2.
you golf. It's
Yeah.
it's actually a Tiger Woods spinoff. So
PGA Tour Last of Us.
yeah. But yeah, so you kill your dad, and you know he's a jerk. So like Dylan said, it's like, well, I kind of feel
Yeah.
bad, but I don't.
Mhm.
And then from there, you realize you're being duped and you're being controlled by Atlas, who was Andrew Ryan's archenemy, who was posing as Atlas, but actually has a Brooklyn accent, I believe. He goes from Irish to Brooklyn.
Kudos to the voice actor. Like,
Yeah, it
oh,
sounds
we've
like
got
two
to go
different
kill
people.
Ryan. He's got to die. And does Frank Fontaine.
Yeah. Yeah. He goes from a little nice Irishman to a gangster, Brooklyn, gangs of New York kind of guy.
I'm not one to pick up on things, and I think it's just not necessarily you don't have any clues that's where it's going. But I personally did not trust Atlas when I started the game.
Yeah.
I thought something was up, and I don't know if they sprinkle clues, but it just felt like he's manipulating you.
Yeah.
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 I can definitely see that too. I guess I definitely think they do a good job of like the twist not really being revealed of like how it could have possibly been the twist, But yeah, I do think you are still like, why? I don't know this guy from, anybody else. Why, how are we so tied together? How am I going to follow so closely to what he's saying every step of the way?
Yeah. You actually, Dylan, you just missed a good pun. That's Bioshock related also. You didn't know him from Adam.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but then I was like, is that the right, thing?
It
I was like,
is.
or am I now thinking of Adam too much because of this?
Because
So
of
I dropped
Bioshock.
it right before it because I was
Nope,
like,
you should have gone with it. Just stuck
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, so you have the big twists, and that's pretty much. I feel like in some ways that's like, in terms of the story twist, that's the climax. Like you find out the guy you're gonna kill is your dad. You can't really stop yourself because you're mind controlled, and the guy that you've been trying to help is actually using you so he can take over Rapture. Which at this point, like you've already alluded to, Chris, does anybody really want to be the leader of this sunken city that is just full of crazy people for
Right.
whatever reason? I don't really know, but
He probably has different aspirations for it.
Maybe,
try
maybe.
to make it better and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, or better in his eyes.
yeah. And so then from there, you have to work to break the mind control, which was pretty fun. Getting you have to get like some kind of spray, or I'm trying to remember now. It's getting fuzzy already, but you have to get some kind of potion or spray or some kind of thing to, like, it takes like 3 times. You have to drink it, I think, and then it slowly breaks the mind control. And from there, you have to become a big daddy and get all the parts, the helmet, the boots. That was pretty cool until you put the helmet on and you got like this tunnel vision. And you can only see like a radius of like 3 feet.
Well, I think I liked it in that because in 2, it starts out in that view as well, and
Yeah, but it's wider.
But you
It's
can
much
choose
more-
to turn it off in the settings.
Oh, can you?
So,
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
so you can
Oh,
choose
I
to turn it off.
Totally
So,
missed that. I
Yeah,
would've-
that's
I
what
would have liked that.
how we said a lot of this is blurring, but I couldn't remember if it was possible in this one too to turn off that tunnel vision. But I don't think I did it in 1, but I'm pretty sure in 2 I definitely did.
Yeah.
So
I-
you
I
played
can
the whole thing.
understand Played the whole thing.
I didn't even realize there was like that much going on around. Like it probably doesn't block that much.
Yeah.
Of the
I mean,
screen
in 1
2.
it did. In 1 it blocked a lot. 2 it blocked less.
Mhm.
It wasn't as tunneled.
Yeah, I
But,
definitely didn't touch that. It's
Yeah.
always the default.
Yeah, I don't think I messed with it either. I think I left it.
Yeah. So you have to become a big daddy, which I will say both in 1 when you become a big daddy, and then in 2, looking, just touching ahead real quick, when you are a big daddy, like every time I would fight like enemies and they would make me make the Big Daddy sound, I would think there was a Big Daddy attacking me. Like I'd be like, oh, where's the Big Daddy? And I was like, oh wait, that's just me talking, like like, you know, making that sound.
While
Do you have a drill in one?
No, just in 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're running together right now.
While,
Two
that's
is
so hard.
2's the one with the drill.
While we're on the topic of thinking there's a Big Daddy near you, I don't know if you guys experienced this with the OG Bioshock and then the remaster and things like that. The only gripe that I had, I think, with the audio of the enemies is like there was really, at least it didn't feel like to me that there was much proximity in terms of like you hear this enemy like talking. And it seems like he's talking right next to you, and you turn around like, where is this guy? And he's like halfway down the hall.
Yes, 100%. I can see that you have a PlayStation 5 there. I know Chris has a PlayStation 5. I don't know what you're playing on.
I have a 4.
Lucas.
I played.
You have a 4. I played this on the collection on the Xbox One X, and it ran like crap for me. These remasters, they like chugged in random spots, and it was like very choppy. So like. It's not getting off of one, but when say I got to Infinite, I even stopped like partially through the DLC of Infinite because I just got so tired of it. I'd literally be on stream like, I promise the stream isn't dipping, like there's no frame drops, it's the game. And I felt like I had that issue, but then also sound felt like there was no proximity or, you know, this kind of 3D sound. It was just like all over the place. I had no idea where it was coming from.
I saw one of those streams, and it felt more painful to play than to watch, because when you watch, you do see some stuttering, but when you're controlling it without lag, it must have been pretty annoying.
Oh yeah, because you did come in the DLC of Infinite. Yeah, I do remember that.
I actually played it. I've got the PS5 here, but I actually played on a Series S.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but still, I was dealing with those audio issues. Like, I was like, this is really creeping me out, but also really frustrating because like you're hearing like the splicers do their random nonsensical crazy talk, and you're like, where is this guy? Where and you're like searching and searching. Oh, he's like in a completely different room, like a hall and a half down.
So they have no soundproof rooms in Rapture. Like everything, the sound travels through every wall, every place.
Yep.
Maybe it's because it's underwater.
Right.
Maybe
and
echo
sound,
tunes. It's like
echo
bouncing off it. That makes sense. Another thing that like it's too late now, but if you didn't know that, like it would suck if you started an audio log and then you caught another like voice thing and it ruined your audio log, but it would still be loaded up as your last one, so you could go back and hit up on it or whatever it was. I didn't know that for like the first half that it was still there to be done. I thought like, well, you know, I triggered it to press play, you know, Hell Day or whatever, and then all of a sudden I caught a random other subtitle thing in there and it ruined the whole audio log. I'm like, dang it, you know, and I have no idea what it says now. And then halfway through realized I could reload the thing up like it was just whatever the last one was.
One thing I will say that was... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing I will say that was pretty cool about the remastered version, I'm assuming you guys all played the remaster. So is they added those like little like featurette
the movies, the director cuts.
The director's cut things. Those were pretty cool. And the one thing that blew me away was like, oh, that's Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley is interviewing them.
Yeah, he hosts it.
Like, oh, okay, cool. But I didn't watch all of them, but there were a couple of those that I kind of caught on to and watched for a little bit. I thought that was pretty cool. So
I watched the first one, but then I found it to be very jarring to be in Rapture and doing that. And then it's like, okay, let's take it in this little documentary. We're going to talk about. I'm like, wait, what? I'm on a mission here.
Yep.
Thank you very
much. And I don't care. No.
Yeah.
I didn't try it, but
especially on stream.
It was like an audio commentary while you were playing.
No, it took you into a living room there where they're being interviewed. You know, like into a movie clip. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they weren't as obvious as the audio files were easy to kind of grab, pick up, and listen to. The other ones, like there was only like 5 of them or 6, I think.
Yeah.
and you had to like see them somewhere and like choose them. I don't know. They weren't as easy to. I only found like one or two, and then the second and third one I was like, I don't really need to watch this. But yeah. So in the last part of the plot, we deal with Fontaine. We break the mind control. We exact our revenge. What did you guys think? There's two like major things that happen, and definitely the second one is more impactful because you choose. It's based off of what you did the rest of the game. But first, in dealing with Fontaine, what did you guys think of the boss fight, where he's pretty much Mr. Manhattan?
Yeah,
Just
it's true. That's
a good
like an
comparison.
evil Mr. Manhattan, just like, "Rah, I'm a big, mean, stupid, naked blue man gonna kill you."
It's from Watchmen. If anybody doesn't know who
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
is,
Dr. Manhattan.
He does look like that, but I think it's a good time to bring something that Splig or Dopalicious told me tonight on Twitter that I hadn't connected. But if any of you had read the book Atlas Shrugged,
Yes.
it's a huge. I didn't connect the two. It's been a while since I read that book or audiobook, but it's a huge inspiration for the whole game. So when
It
you
is.
sit and think about it, Atlas, the character, the writer is Ayn Rand. So Andrew Ryan
Yep.
is very similar, and the Fontaine boss looks like the cover of Atlas Shrugged. It's really
Yep.
the same dude holding
Holding the globe. Yeah,
Yeah.
the representation of Atlas, the Titan. Yep.
and it's the
That's
whole
true.
thing, about trying to or wanting to. I'm not going to spoil the book, but wanting a elite society that you build on the side, so you don't have to deal with the normal society and have only elites and no laws, and you can do whatever you want.
So anarchy.
Is very, very similar themes between the two.
on top of that, I know it's kind of getting off of the boss battle here, and we'll go back to it. But did any of you guys? I think it might have even been in those video diaries that we were talking about System Shock, the
Yep.
precursor to
Yeah.
Bioshock. Have any of you played those, or
Have not.
even
I
know
haven't
what
played it,
that
but I've
entails?
definitely heard of it.
Yeah, I know that there's. So I wonder what it would be like. What kind of things pass through both games? Like what did they take
Right.
from that? It would be interesting to see that too, because
Mhm.
I have no idea. I just know that there is a precursor game to the Bioshocks.
Yeah. Are they by the same studio or not at all?
I can't remember if this is like a love letter to System Shock, if it's like only they say System Shock is a precursor, juts out of,
It's a
how close they
spiritual
are.
predecessor.
Yeah, spiritual successor and stuff like that. Yep, exactly. I don't know if it's like that or if there is direct ties to the company and the storyline and writers and things like that. So it would have been interesting if any of us knew that. But back
Maybe
to
Mark's
the
looking at it right
boss
now.
fight. I melted him. And this was
Agreed.
probably this was one of the first times where like I really did feel like, oh man, would I have gotten more enjoyment out of there? Because I get heckled all the time because I do a lot of games quickly, and I get heckled a lot when I play things on easy and stuff like that. And
Right.
they're like, but you don't get any rewarding. I'm like, there's not a lot of things where I do really feel rewarded. I've done the Dark Souls series and Bloodborne and Sekiro. I platinum Bloodborne, and so I've done all that where you don't get to choose the difficulty, so I play
Yeah.
games that are hard, and that's when I do it, but then I want to enjoy some things and just get through it quickly or enjoy the story.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that will be like, well, you're not getting the experience or whatever, but then that boss fight, I was like, that was pretty anticlimactic when I'm like, just melting him again with
Yeah.
that round drum, super powerful, and I just melted him, and I was like, okay, hopefully the hecklers aren't in here right now, because they're gonna be eating me alive.
Yeah.
So just to answer the question, so Bioshock is indeed a spiritual successor to Bioshock. Yeah, is a spiritual successor to System Shock, and many of the developers from System Shock, including Ken Levine,
Ken Levine.
who was the creative lead for Bioshock. he worked on the team that did System Shock.
Cool.
Mm,
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
nice.
Nice. Mark fact.
More fact.
Yeah.
Boom.
Nice. Yeah, I also melted Fontaine, and you know, I pretty much strafed in a circle, and he never hit me with his charges, never hit me with the only time I think he hurt me was when other enemies would come, like I don't know, like other
I can't even picture
Yeah,
him getting off of his little tube, like when he charged up and then getting forward. I can't picture him making it further than him coming literally out
No.
of his beefed up state, like out, and I'm just like, done.
done. You know, he gets back in the chair, and then you stab him again and do it.
Yeah, I
On
just
Yeah.
love watching the.
yeah, it all gets sucked away. So at the end, you beat him, and then he's all angry. And before I think he knocks you over or something, and then little sisters enter the room. Now I'm guessing since all of us said at the beginning
Yeah.
we are good people when we play. I imagine you saved most of all of. You saved more than you harvested the little sisters, which we didn't really talk about the little sisters very much. We talked about the big daddies, but they're guarding the little sisters who are pretty much tasked with harvesting and pretty much kind of controlling the ins and outs and the flow of Adam and Eve and all that stuff. So did everybody save little sisters?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Saved
saved
all of
every
them.
single one of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
and
save
there's
that?
actually 3 different endings.
There are
Gotcha.
3
Yeah.
different endings.
I need to watch the other ones because I forgot what the other 2 were.
I did watch them and just quickly watch them, and I didn't even see the difference between the bad and the middle one.
Okay.
Right.
They look exactly the same to me, but I know there's a tiny
it's-
difference probably.
It's not so much the look, it's how Tenenbaum sounds.
Okay.
One is obviously the super happy ending where you take care of the little sisters and watch them grow up to graduate
Yeah.
from college or high school or whatever, get
It's all
married,
about
have
family.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they take care of you
and
at
then they're
your
there on
deathbed.
your deathbed. But the difference between the other 2 is one, like the worst ending, Tenenbaum is angry at you, like the way that she's talking. The middle of the road where you kind of harvested some of the little sisters, she's just sad.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we all got the good ending, right?
Which I loved that ending. I thought it was a fantastic
I did
ending.
too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, there's not a lot of games that there's not a lot of things in life that when they end, let you be happy.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Right.
it's like this unwritten rule of writers that they're like, you can never end on a happy note or let a group get together that you want to get together. They're like, we're always going to keep your love interests apart, but whatever. They just have to come to terms with it. Nothing is ever like actually a happy ending. And like this one was like, I really like that. We've been trudging through the crap, in Rapture for this whole time, and then we really do come out with a rewarding ending of like sweet. Like I really loved it.
Yeah. Me too. I like the family centric, especially through the whole game. You're so focused on, killing this guy, getting double crossed, and at the end it's like you save the girls, so you get to have a family at the end that actually cares for you. It was a nice ending to an otherwise like just crazy everybody's crazy game.
I mentioned the hecklers or whatever in my main one. I mentioned him earlier, Beaver. That the little sisters allowed me to get back at Beaver on stream. I draw like my emotes and things like that, and I drew Beaver as a little sister. So I took a like screenshot from his Twitch of him like looking, on his stream there, and then I drew him in like the little sister getup. And I mean, I put it like big smack in the middle of the thing, so I could click it and like show it whatever I wanted. And then it was on like the bottom corner of my stream, like me as a big daddy and him as this tiny little sister. And I mean, it was perfectly, caught everything about him. And I loved it. And that was my way to get back at him, of him being the little sister.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Did you guys have any other thoughts?
Any Tom Clancy fans in here? No, not really. Okay. I just thought it was funny that you find out your character's name is Jack Ryan.
Oh, that's true. I'd never connected that. Like, I knew your name was Jack, but I never connected it. Andrew Ryan. Yeah, Jack Ryan. What? You go on to do Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger and all that stuff?
Yep.
Is that, wait, are those universes connected?
Yes.
You're Jack Ryan?
Yes.
Sweet. I like this game better already. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 now for being connected to the Tom Clancy universe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unofficially.
Just overall, the game, I mean, I think, like I said, music and setting can carry so hard for me. And that game is such a lived in world, like every aspect of it. You just see, whether you're seeing a Big Daddy, welding a tube over across the walkway and seeing the fish out in the water and stuff like that. And this little drip that's letting water into there. It's like they do such a good job of really fleshing that out. Like I said, when I go through it instantly stopped me in my tracks and made me play so much slower just to be able to look at everything, and then realizing it's a Metroidvania was super fun. I was just like, holy crap, no wonder the pacing feels so good in this thing. Like, they did a great job, made it explorative. The audio logs are a really fun collectible. It didn't feel meaningless, and that was just fantastic. I haven't played say Half-Lifes yet, so like I haven't gotten through any of those, so I don't know how much they would be similar, but I have to imagine with things like telekinesis and grabbing items and stuff like that, they had to have taken a lot of inspiration from Half-Life with like grab guns and stuff like that as well. So it's like I bet they were stoked about it. I bet they, the people that play Half-Life also would enjoy going into, say, Rapture and Bioshock. And man, it's just the aesthetic, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one thing. I mean, obviously, I played through the entire game. I've played through it twice. Overall, I love the game. There's one other thing that's kind of a little bit of a drawback, and I'm sure it's a consistency in 1. I don't know about 2. It definitely is a consistency in Infinite. There's a lot of religious negative stereotyping, like religious zealot stereotyping in this game. That, like,
it's in 2 also.
I was like, okay. You guys who listen to our podcast, you guys know that we're people of faith backgrounds, and so it's always kind of hard when they have that Christian zealot,
negative
really
representation.
Very negative representation. It wasn't like overbearing, but it was there, and like a lot of the bad guys were like spouting off Bible verses and things like that, and so that was kind of like and in Infinite it was like but
Infinite, I definitely noticed it for sure. Clearly, you have to. There's no way
very clear
when you get
in
baptized into an area, So like that one, I didn't feel it as much in Bioshock 1. I don't know. I really didn't pick up on it.
With that being my background, I guess I just tend to notice it more.
Well, and you did play Infinite first, and so you're going to notice it more as opposed to playing Bioshock 1 first. Like, because Infinite really does focus on it, and then you go back to 1, and I do remember hearing some things and seeing some things, but it definitely wasn't as heavy-handed as Infinite.
I can say just as like from not noticing it, it almost seemed like everything was, Andrew Ryan was playing God, and things like that.
Right.
Like I didn't really think of actual religion in the game. I really thought like this man thinks he has all of the power to create everything he could, and that all power is to him, and nothing is outside of his means. And now everybody in this world is in his control, kind of thing. And then there's this other power move that wants to be God of this area,
Sure.
So I don't know. That's why I missed it.
Yep.
Makes me think of the two of the villains that we didn't talk about much, but like the surgeon and the artist.
The artist
that was the weirdest thing ever.
Shout out to Sander Cohen for being most bizarre. He gave you the most bizarre side side mission in order to. Did you guys kill him when he comes down the stairs?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably.
I didn't the second time because there's a trophy attached to
Of
making it to his apartment. So if you let him live when he walks down the stairs, and because he walks down the stairs and he looks at the photos you've taken, he's like, masterpieces.
I think
And
I was
then
on him right
gives
as
you the
you
key.
could get on him.
Oh, really? You're
Yeah.
like, nope, I'm done with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my
but if you-
robots probably did.
Probably. Well, if you let him live later on, when you go through the apartment complex to get to Fontaine, you can go into his apartment and you fight him. You eventually kill him there.
Okay.
And then there's a trophy for also taking a picture of him after you've
Oh, that's cool.
taken care of him.
That's
Yeah, I
clever.
had that trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really clever.
So
Yeah, I
really-
mean, the first one was so messed up. The surgeon.
Yeah, exactly.
What a
They're
rough-
cool villains.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were cool villains. Twisted villains for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that is all for our bodaciously bona fide spoiler cast for Bioshock 1. Maybe see you again for our Bioshock series spoiler cast at some time in the future. But for now, as is tradition, some quick housekeeping where we offer towels, fluff pillows topped with Andy's candies, and tip you off to the GMG news you need to know. Dylan. Housekeeping. Dylan, do you mind plugging fluff towel? Not fluff towel. Why do I always want fluff towel?
I mean, I
why don't
love
you?
my towels fluffed. What are you talking
Yeah, I mean they feel nice when you fluff them and then you use it to dry yourself. Dylan, please plug your show, your socials,
Yeah.
whatever ways our joiners can connect with you. Go ahead and throw that out again.
So Quest for Nostalgia with a 4 as like the number 4 on YouTube and on Twitch. YouTube, I do about a video every single week, and it is different things, that it could be top 5s, it could be collectibles that you have. You can see all these Legos and things like that. We haven't done any Legos things on there yet, but you see older consoles. It's really a kind of my life through gaming and these things. It's really not just like a review, or in like list videos. It's really my impressions on there, what it meant to me, how it infected me and things like that. And I've been now journeying into JRPG, so there's been a lot of JRPG content, and it's interesting for somebody who didn't get raised on those, didn't come up playing those games, and now getting a look through that. So it does let me look through the lens of, does it still hold up, or is it through nostalgia glasses? The whole idea of this Quest for Nostalgia has been that idea of like, the feeling when you used to rent movies from Blockbuster and games like that, and going back to that, you can still get those feelings today and fall in love with new series and stuff like that can replace your top 10s. But then we also have the Quest for Nostalgia YouTube channel or Twitch channel, and there, it's usually either what I'm playing for these, it's catching up on this PS4 backlog that I've just started diving into. And then we also, I don't know if you guys are against emulators and things like that, but I do have, homebrewed Wii's and Xboxes and things like that, which opened up a huge library to play things that I missed. And it also allows me to do a stream or two every now and then where I can play games that people just recommended, things that they used to remember renting from Blockbuster and stuff like that. So on the emulator PC, I will, if somebody says, man, I used to play, Little Nemo on the NES, I'm like, I can grab it in a millisecond, throw it on there, and like spread some joy of them getting to see, something that they liked and experiencing that, and most of those NES games will melt your face off how hard they are. So
for sure.
Absolutely.
But
Little Nemo's a classic. I love that game.
So it's just like fun things like that. I love doing it, whether it's a game that I did love back then, or whether it's seeing something that you loved and shared with me, and then watching me, give it a shot or a run, and seeing things like that hold up. So that's what we kind of do over there.
Sweet. All right. Well, joiners, listeners, go ahead and check out Quest for Nostalgia for sure. The GMG stream team is also full stream ahead, Sunday to Saturday. Check out Mark on Saturday nights playing games like Splitgate.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. Split Night is not real. I just made that up.
Split.
Splitgate, Fortnite, Apex, Split, Apex, Split Night, whatever. all the multiplayer games. Check them out. Mark is on it. Then check out Chris as well and myself during your pre and post mornings. Once the late night folks like Dylan and others are going to bed, Chris and I are waking up and we're playing, GMG VGBC games like Days Gone. We're playing Borderlands 2 with our buddy Blaze, and also I'm continuing to work on 100%ing that glorious roguelite Hades that just came to PlayStation
Nice.
consoles.
Oh.
So yeah, feel free to check us out on twitch.tv. Also,
I do stream in French on
Go ahead.
Sundays now.
That's right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
If anybody wants to learn a new word in French, come
So
hang out.
cool.
Yeah,
Marc Boucher.
What a great idea, Chris. That is awesome.
that is really cool. That's right. If you guys don't like streaming and you prefer tweeting on Twitter or discoursing on Discord, we do still want to hang out with you. So check out the show notes to click on the links there to find us on those social media platforms. And then finally, rate and review us if you get a chance on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser so we can reach new joiners. Whether you give stars, exclamation marks, or nice encouraging words, we want your voice to be heard. All right. Chris the Rock and Marc Boucher and Dylan and our beloved Tenenbaum, along with our friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
1, 2, 3, 4.